I am 91 years old, and I sleep like a baby. Every single night. 7 hours. Not 6, not 8, exactly 7. I wake up without an alarm. I wake up clear, and I did not always. For most of my life, I slept the way most of you probably sleep right now. Badly. Partially. Waking at 2 in the morning with a mind that refused to be quiet, staring at the ceiling, counting the hours left before I had to get up, exhausted before the day even started. I thought that was just how sleep worked. I thought the people who slept well were simply lucky, born different, wired in some way I was not. I was wrong, completely wrong. And the thing that changed everything was not a pill, not a supplement, not a fancy mattress, not a white noise machine. It was one single realization. One thought that arrived on an ordinary night when I was 68 years old and changed every night that came after it. I want to tell you what that realization was. But first I need you to understand something about where I was before it. I was a worrier. I say that plainly because there is no softer word that captures it honestly. I worried about my children when they were young, and I worried about them when they were grown. I worried about money and health and the future, and the 1,000 small things that pile up in a life and demand your attention even when you are lying down in the dark, trying to rest. My mind at bedtime was like a room where everyone was talking at once and nobody was willing to leave. I would lie down and the thoughts would start, and the thoughts would pull at each other, and one worry would connect to another, and by midnight I was solving problems that did not exist yet, and rehearsing conversations that might never happen. And somewhere in all of that, I was supposed to be sleeping. I was not sleeping. I was performing sleep while my brain ran a night shift nobody asked it to run. By the time I was in my mid-60s, I had accepted this as my reality. My doctor offered me things. I tried some of them. They helped a little and left me feeling foggy in the mornings in a way I disliked more than the tiredness they were meant to fix. I read books about sleep. I tried routines. I tried cutting caffeine and dimming lights and all the things that sensible people recommend. And some of them helped in small ways, and none of them solved the fundamental problem. The fundamental problem was not my habits. It was my relationship with the night itself. Now, before I tell you the thing that changed everything, I want to tell you about a woman named Sylvia. Sylvia was my closest friend for over 40 years. We met in our late 20s, and she was the kind of friend you do not find twice. The kind who knows the full version of you and loves you anyway. Sylvia also could not sleep. We used to joke about it, two old women comparing notes on our wakeful nights like they were badges we had both earned. But underneath the joking, Sylvia's sleeplessness was darker than mine. It fed her anxiety. It made everything harder. She was tired in a way that accumulated over years and became something heavier than tired, a kind of chronic depletion that affected her health, her mood, her ability to be present in her own life. Sylvia passed away at 83. In the last years of her life, she told me she felt like she had spent decades fighting her own body at night, and she was exhausted from the fighting. Not from the sleeplessness exactly, from the resistance, from the years of lying in the dark, treating wakefulness as an enemy to be defeated rather than something to be understood. She said, "I wish I had stopped fighting it sooner." I think about that sentence often. I think about it every night when I close my eyes and feel the ease of a body that is no longer at war with itself. Sylvia's reading glasses were still on her bedside table when her daughter called to tell me she was gone. She had been reading the night before. Something gentle, her daughter said. A garden book. She had been at peace in that final night in a way she had not always been. That image comforts me. It took her too long to get there. I wanted to take you less time. If you are watching this and you know exactly what I am describing, if you lie down at night and your mind refuses to follow, if you wake at 2 or 3 and cannot find your way back, if you are tired in the morning before the day has even asked anything of you yet, I want you to know that what I am about to tell you is not complicated. It is not a program or a protocol. It is a shift in understanding. And shifts in understanding, the real ones, the ones that actually change behavior, happen in a single moment. Mine happened on an otherwise unremarkable Tuesday night in November when I was 68 years old. I had been awake for 2 hours, the usual circular thinking, the usual fruitless mental activity, and at some point I simply stopped. Not because I willed myself to stop, but because I was tired enough of the fighting that I accidentally let go of it. And in that moment of letting go, I had a thought that was so simple it almost made me laugh. The thought was this: nothing I am thinking about right now can be solved at 2 in the morning. Not one single thing. Every worry in my head at this moment is either something I cannot control or something that will still be there tomorrow when I have a rested mind to bring to it. There is not a single problem lying in this bed that benefits from me being awake right now. Not one. That was it. That was the whole realization. I know it sounds too simple. I know you are waiting for something more elaborate. But the simplicity is exactly what made it work. Because for decades, my sleepless nights had been driven by an unconscious belief that the thinking was doing something. That if I turned a problem over enough times in the dark, I was making progress on it. That vigilance was the same as usefulness. That staying mentally active at 2 in the morning was in some way responsible or productive. And the realization was that it was none of those things. It was just noise. It was just a tired brain spinning in place and calling it work. And the moment I genuinely understood that, not as an intellectual concept, but in my body, something released. I started sleeping differently almost immediately. Not perfectly and not all at once, but the relationship changed. When I woke in the night and the thoughts began, I had a new response available to me. I could say, quietly and simply, "Not now. There is nothing useful happening here," and mean it. Not fighting the wakefulness, not angry at it, not anxious about it, just gently declining to engage with it. Like a visitor who knocks at 2 in the morning and you do not open the door, not because you are rude, but because you know it is not the right time and nothing good comes of opening it. And here is what I want you to understand about sleep that nobody told me until I was old enough to have spent decades without it. Sleep is not something you do. Sleep is something you allow. Your body knows how to sleep. It has known since you were born. The mechanism is intact. What gets in the way is almost never a broken sleep system. What gets in the way is you, your thoughts, your resistance, your anxiety about the sleeplessness itself, your habit of treating the night as a continuation of the day's unfinished business. The body is ready to rest every single night. You are the one keeping the lights on. Now, if you are finding what I am saying useful, and you want more of this, More of these honest conversations about the things nobody tells you until it is almost too late. I want you to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon, because we put out videos like this regularly, and I would hate for you to miss the next one. There are things I still want to tell you, things about health and regret and the small daily choices that compound into a life. If you are not subscribed, you will miss them. And some of them I genuinely believe will matter to you. So take 2 seconds, subscribe, hit that bell, and then come back here with me. Now, where were we? The other piece of this, the practical piece that I figured out alongside the mental shift, was the rhythm. 7 hours is my number, not because someone told me 7 was the correct number, but because I paid attention to my own body with more honesty than I ever had before, and 7 was what it told me it needed. Your number might be different, 6.5, 7.5. The point is that your body has a number, and it will tell you what it is if you stop overriding it with screens and stimulation and the pretense that more hours in bed always means more rest. They do not. Lying in bed for 9 hours fighting your own mind is not rest. It is exhaustion of a different kind. I go to bed at the same time every night. I wake up at the same time every morning. Not because I am rigid or disciplined in some heroic way, but because I learned, later than I should have, that the body runs on rhythm the way a clock runs on winding. It needs consistency to do its job properly. Every time you stay up 2 hours later on a Friday and try to sleep in on Saturday, you are not catching up on rest. You are confusing the clock. You are starting Monday already slightly out of tune. I did this for decades. Most people do this their whole lives and wonder why they never feel fully rested. I want to tell you what 7 hours of genuine sleep feels like when you have spent 30 years getting something less than that. It feels like being given something back that you did not know had been taken. It feels like the mornings have a different quality, a crispness, a sense of arrival, rather than the dragging continuation of a night that did not do what nights are supposed to do. My memory improved, my patience improved, my body's ability to manage weight and inflammation, and all the quiet internal processes that happen while you sleep and that nobody thinks about because they are invisible. All of that improved. Sleep is not passive. Sleep is the most active repair process your body has, and most of us have been shortchanging it our whole lives and then spending money and effort trying to address symptoms that would largely resolve themselves if we simply slept properly. I want to ask you something, and I want you to think about it honestly. When did you last wake up without an alarm, feeling genuinely ready for the day? Not functional, not capable of getting up, ready. Awake and clear and actually glad to be conscious. If you cannot remember, if that experience is so rare that no recent morning comes to mind, I want you to sit with that. Because that feeling is not a luxury. It is not reserved for the young or the retired or the people with easy lives. It is what a body that has been allowed to do its job properly feels like every single morning. It is available to you. You have simply been getting in the way of it. What is your relationship with sleep like right now? I genuinely want to know. Leave me a comment below and tell me honestly. Do you wake in the night? Does your mind run when you are trying to rest? Have you been tired so long that you have stopped noticing it as a problem? Tell me, because I read these comments and I want to understand where you are. And sometimes just writing it out, just naming it plainly in a comment box, is the beginning of taking it seriously in a way you have not quite managed to yet. So tell me, what does your night actually look like? The other thing I changed, and this one surprised me with how much it mattered, was what I did in the hour before bed. For most of my life, I treated the hour before sleep as overflow time, the leftover hour, the hour where I finished whatever the day had not finished, watched television that was louder and brighter and more stimulating than I realized, had the conversations that should have happened earlier, checked the things I told myself I just needed to quickly check. I was handing my brain a fresh set of inputs right before asking it to shut down. That is like putting petrol in a car and then expecting it to sit still. The brain needs a transition. It needs to be walked down from the day's activity into the stillness that sleep requires. An hour of genuine wind down is not indulgence, it is maintenance. I read now before I sleep, something gentle and engaging but not urgent, not news, not anything that raises my heart rate or triggers my opinions or sends me down a path of thinking I cannot easily leave. I have a cup of chamomile tea that I have been having every night for 20 years now, and the ritual of it alone begins to tell my body what is coming. These are small things, unremarkable things, but they are consistent, and they are kind to the body that has to carry me through every day, and they cost nothing except a little intention. 91 years old, and I sleep like I am 25. Not because I am exceptional or lucky or built differently, because at 68, I finally stopped treating sleep as the thing that happened when everything else was finished, and started treating it as the most important appointment of the day, the one I keep before all others, the one I protect without apology. Your sleep is not a small thing. It is not a personal quirk or a minor inconvenience or something to manage around the edges of a busy life. It is the foundation of everything: your mood, your health, your ability to think clearly and love well, and show up fully for the people and the work that matter to you. Everything runs on it, and you have been running on a compromised version of it for long enough. One realization: nothing I am thinking about right now can be solved at 2 in the morning. Write it down if you need to. Put it somewhere you can see it. Say it to yourself tonight when the thoughts begin. And then, for the first time in a long time, let yourself rest. If this conversation meant something to you, share it with someone who needs it. Someone in your life who you know is tired, who wakes in the night and says nothing about it, who has accepted exhaustion as a permanent condition of their existence. Share this with them. Because sometimes a 79-year-old stranger on the internet says the thing that a person has needed to hear for years and simply never heard in quite the right way. And if you are not yet subscribed to this channel, please do that now. Hit the bell icon so you do not miss what comes next. I have more to tell you about health, about regret, about the small daily things that either build a life or quietly dismantle one. You do not want to miss those conversations. I have been saving them up for 91 years, and I am not done yet. Sylvia would have loved all of this. She would have sat at her kitchen table with her tea and listened to every word and said, "Why did nobody tell us sooner?" I think about her every night when I close my eyes easily and sleep the full 7 hours and wake up ready. I tell you now, on her behalf and on my own, stop fighting the night. It was never your enemy. Rest. You have earned it, and your tomorrow needs you whole.